Hi, my name's Molly Walters, and I'm going to be doing my strategy presentation on vocabulary and its use in the science classroom. So first off, this is just a quote that I got from one of my journal articles. It says, "Word learning is enhanced when students are actively involved in the generation of word meanings rather than being passive recipients of information." And this just means that when students are engaged and participating in the work that they're doing, they're going to be learning more than when they're just writing down the definitions on a piece of paper. Below this is an idea I got from Weebly. It is the main words such as vocabulary words, students, text, academic, learn. They're bigger than the others because those are the main words, and then branching off are these smaller words that relate to them. So when students are learning new vocabulary, this is a great technique to use because they can see the connections between all the words. Next is the resources. So when students are learning new words, it can be a little bit difficult for them, and there's different tricks that they can use to try and figure it out. So context clues, this is just a student reading the passage and looking around the sentence to try and find little hints and things to help them figure out the meaning of this unknown word. Morphemic analysis, the student would use the roots and the affixes of the words to try and figure out what it may mean. Teacher's assistance, that's just the teacher assisting the student and giving them the definition or trying to help them figure it out themselves. In dictionary, the student can take the dictionary and look up the word and figure it out. So next is how to select the correct vocabulary. So as a teacher, it's important that we select the correct vocabulary so that way the students can learn from it and benefit. So the vocabulary words should relate to the concepts that are being taught in that lesson. And they should go along with each other. The students should be able to see connections. They should be in the same topic. Certain words, you might not need to pay as much attention to them because maybe the students already know them. They've already been covered. They, depending on their knowledge level or their background, they may be able to just be touched on a little bit and then skipped over, And also, if you choose the correct activities in your classroom, the students can become more independent and be able to learn these vocabulary words on their own. Next topic we're going to discuss is the benefits of using vocabulary in the classroom. So there are several benefits, but I only wanted to list a few here. So when the students know their vocabulary, it increases their communication skills so they can speak to others better. They have a higher vocabulary. They're going to be able to hold higher level conversations. Listening, they're going to listen for these words and be able to try and determine the meaning by listening to the other words that are said in the sentence. Reading, they're going to be able to read at a higher level than they would have before. And writing, their writing's going to become more complex and intricate for other readers will notice it too. So as the vocabulary increases, so does their performance. The next topic is my activity. So as I was reading the book that we have for the class, I thought that when the students read and write, they learn so much, and I also saw that the hands-on activity was a great way for the students to learn too. So I feel like science is a really hands-on topic. So when the students are trying to learn the concept and doing the hands-on experiment, they can learn it easier. So they can also discuss it with their peers afterwards too. So the experiment that I picked for this science activity is the formation of a gas. So the students will be observing the formation of a gas. So step one, they would take a balloon and they'd put 2 tablespoons of baking soda into it using the funnel. And they'd pour the vinegar into a plastic pop bottle until it's about halfway full. They'd want to secure the balloon on the top of the bottle without letting the baking soda fall into the bottle, so they're going to want to hold that. And then once they're ready, they'll release the baking soda into the bottle and watch the magic happen. So the materials they would need is a balloon, vinegar, baking soda, a bottle, and a funnel. Next, the vocabulary that goes along with this hands-on experiment is reaction, endothermic reaction, exothermic reaction, evaporation, physical change, temperature, gas, liquid, and vapor. So part 2, Once they've done this experiment, they've kind of got a feel for what's happening, the different vocabulary that's kind of been thrown out there at them as they're completing it. They're going to start to take a second to sit down and think about this vocabulary and learn it. So they're going to make like a booklet. In this booklet, they're going to divide it on each page into 4 squares. So I'm just going to kind of show you to get a picture in your head. This is what it'll look like. So the picture is going to be up here in the first square, and they're going to draw a picture that corresponds to the word in the center, and then they're going to use that word in a sentence. And then they're going to write a synonym for this word and an antonym for this word. And they're going to write the textbook definition for this word and the definition in their own words. And they'll do this for every one of the words that went with the experiment. And this is just to try and help the student get a picture of what they're learning. It's a visual representation, but also know what words relate to this and what words don't. That way, when they see it again in the future, they'll know what it means. So the importance of science vocabulary: in order for students to develop scientific literacy, they need to gain a knowledge of science content and practice scientific habits of mind. This is impossible without a knowledge of science vocabulary. So if the students don't have this vocabulary, they're not going to be able to be literate in the science content. They're not going to be able to gain this knowledge of the science unless they know the vocabulary. So why I feel vocabulary is important: part of the disciplinary literacy instruction in science is supporting students in being able to communicate like scientists, which means they need to use the language of science. So for the students to talk to each other, they're going to have to talk in scientific terms. This is important for them to understand the concepts that are being taught. Students are able to understand the text better, and they can comprehend it better when they understand this vocabulary. It's important. The text is going to use this vocabulary. If the students are reading the text and they can't understand it because they don't understand the vocabulary, that becomes a problem. When vocabulary is being taught, so is the content. So when the students are learning the words, the vocabulary words, they're also learning the content that goes along with it. And these are my sources. Thank you for watching.